and to his race car, and the wife goes something like, oh, like it's all for presentation though, chap, because they're holding hands and they're waving to the crowds like, oh, they're racing's best couple, chat. And she goes right next to him, like as close as I am to my microphone. She goes, crash and burn, honey. And he goes, I love you too, bitch. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. Chat. You know what I can't do tonight? I can talk about DC. Okay, this shouldn't be controversial at all. I'm going to talk about Doom Patrol, chat. As you know, every single Saturday, chat, I review an episode of television. If you happen to donate, chat, submit 1,000 biddies. That's a very generous amount. Thank you. You have the ability to select an episode of TV, which I will then review sometime in the future, typically on a Saturday, chat. I'm trying to make this special, so 4 or 5 times a month, that kind of thing. And today, I decided to do Doom Patrol, chat, because I want to make people aware of this goddamn show. I've talked about it a couple times on stream before, several times on stream. You guys talked about it too. I'm a big goddamn fan, chat. Dealing with kind of like these very weird, offbeat, D-list, DC characters, chat. People like Robot Man and, goddamn Larry, the Lairster, chat. Crazy Jane, the Chief. Who the fuck are these people? I'll tell you in a bit, chat. I'll tell you in a bit, because I'm going to be doing a spoiler review, chat. A scene by scene breakdown, chat, to the HBO Max, formerly, remember DC Universe, chat? It's all DC content. Just give us paid $9.99 a month. People went, no. And thankfully, the show is saved. They moved it on over to HBO Max. It is getting a 3rd season, thank fucking God. It's been a bit of a delay, but I'm like, okay, that's fine. COVID delayed it too, because of the, they know the people on set, that kind of thing. So, COVID restrictions and things. So it's fine. As long as we're going to fucking get another season, I want many seasons of the show because it's fucking excellent. The character work in this series is very, very good. It's very impressive. I think it's one of the DC's best products out there. Right now, chat. I mean, it might be there. I think it is. I don't think this is a controversial statement to make. It is probably DC's best television show right now, if not ever. It's of that quality, chat. But typically, chat, before I go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details, chat, the specificities, if you will, I like to ask you a very specific question. How many of you have seen HBO Max's DC's Doom Patrol, chat? I'm very curious about this, actually. Because if you have not, you should. DT Dark's never seen it. You should watch it. D Girl's never seen it. Crimson, seen it? Love it. Yes. Good to see you, Crimson, by the way. Casfay, haven't seen it. Adman, Theme Man, Kevin the Boo Man, not me. Gimpy Larry. This is the first episode. Alex, seen season 1 and 2. Both. Back to back. Nice. Bear, watch some of it. I haven't finished yet. I haven't actually finished it yet either. It's on my list. What about The Flash? The Flash is good. I've only seen the first 2 seasons, though. And Berserker, I have not. Glad I have. Great show. Glee, not yet. Too Tall. Doom Patrol was awesome. Maybe a DC show because it's almost like X-Men, but just DC. Yeah, it's very good. That's very accurate. It is very, literally they have the teacher, their leader, Chad, is a man in a wheelchair. It's very true. It's very much DC's X-Men. I could see that. Great comparison. They live in a mansion. They don't really control. They're not really in control of their powers. They're ostracized by society. Society hates them. It's literally DC's X-Men. You're not wrong. Jason Bear, I haven't. Bloodstream Gamers, I saw this episode. There you go, Stizzy Man. What's good? Good to see you, Stizzy Man. What's good, Chris? Just got back from the DT watch party. Oh, it's good to hear. Death Drug, right? Nice. No, I knew that Corey was going to be doing that tonight. Good to hear. Also, I haven't seen this show, but it looks like it is interesting. So my second favorite DC show after. Well, oh, that's right, Watchmen. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I had to say. Okay. Excuse me, chat. I messed up. You are correct, Pixel Mite. I agree with you. Watchmen is probably the better show, and then after Watchmen, I would say Doom Patrol. Fair enough. Fair point. There you go. It's the most character-driven DC live-action story in 7 years. It definitely is, along with Watchmen. So it's the Umbrella Academy. Umbrella Academy is the X-Men. Doom Patrol is Umbrella Academy. Doom Patrol is, Umbrella Academy is Doom Patrol. They're going back and forth. Ace Rock, welcome. Ace Rock, hope you're doing very well. Thank you for joining us for that watch party earlier. Hope you're doing well. About to do my review for Doom Patrol Episode 1. Doom Patrol actual predates X-Men. Oh, fuck, there you go. Fuck, there you go. X-Men copy Doom Patrol, chat. Boom. Never mind. Just like X-Men has just been more in the pop culture zeitgeist, I think, other than, you know, than Doom Patrol compared to it, I would say. Doom Patrol was published before X-Men. So there you go. Just Bear, need to get some sleep. Have a good stream. No problem, Just Bear. Thank you for stopping by the stream. I'll see you next time, good sir. So this is cool, chat. We got a group of people that, you know, I like this diverse group. I like this diverse group. We have people that have seen it, all of it. People that have seen some of it, maybe a couple episodes, maybe one episode, maybe the first season, partial of the second season. I'm right there. I'm in that group right now. I have to finish watching season 2. And of all the people that have not seen it, this is good. This is what I love. Chat. I remember when Doom Patrol was greenlit, and this was after they had already. So this is interesting, chat. So Doom Patrol, the series, it's in 2 different timelines. Like when it debuted, when the Doom Patrol debuted in live action, chat, it was in that Titans TV series. And it even had some of the same actors in it, chat. I mean, you have Brendan Fraser as Robot Man. He was in that Titans. And it was like guest spots. And you also had, I believe, April Bowlby, who played Rita. She was in there along with the guy that played Larry, the Lairster. Like, they made their debut there, but they've confirmed that is a separate fucking thing that's not connected to the show. Because the question people are going to be asking, is Doom Patrol those fucking weird characters that suddenly showed up in Titans? You know, the one where Robin says, fuck Batman, like that one? It's, no. No, it's like that's its own separate Doom Patrol continuity. They said, well, fuck that show. We don't want to connect it to that because it's not that great. I watch a couple episodes of Titans shows like this. Oofa. Yeah, that's like the bad CW, like Arrow kind of show. Like, I can't tolerate that. No, thank you. Doom Patrol is on a whole nother fucking level. So we need to like, just fucking cut it off. We need to fucking cut it off, cauterize the wound, and let it grow somewhere else. Let it grow and fester into something beautiful and horrible, chat. And that is Doom Patrol. So for those of you asking, is this the thing that was connected to the Titans? No. It is definitely not. It's in its own continuity, chat. And this is base. I mean, now, there's been many iterations of Doom Patrol over the years. Like, even all the way back to the predates X-Men, sure. But this one is more, I would say, based on Grant Morrison's run of Doom Patrol. Now, Grant, for those who don't know, Grant Morrison, he's a writer, known for a lot of his comics, chat. Everything from Superman to Batman, chat. He's done a whole bunch of books. He also had a very famous run on Doom Patrol, which I have read a little bit of. Not a lot of it, Jen. It was fucking weird. And basically, if you don't know, it's pretty much X-Men, except if the X-Men were even, like even bigger losers. It's like the X-Men, like some of the X-Men have like really fucking cool powers. Like, hey, fucking Storm can control the weather. And, you know, Wolverine, he can smell real good. And he can have, you know, he has fucking knives for hands. He can regenerate. And he lives for a long time. He's almost immortal, chat. Cyclops has fucking concussive blasts. You know, you have Jean Grey. She has power of telekinesis and telepathy, chat. Like, I got some pretty fucking cool powers. Nightcrawler can teleport. Now you have, like, the Doom Patrol, chat, and you have a character like Robot Man, who's basically a guy that was in a horrific fucking accident. The only thing that survived was his brain, and he lives in this fucking dumpy-looking robot body. He can't do anything, chat. He can't eat. He can't really sleep. He can't, you know, he can't fucking fuck. He can't do nothing, chat. He feels nothing. He's like, his body's literally his prison. You have one guy named Larry, who's always dressed up as the Mummy, chat, because he's been horrifically fucking burned and he cannot die. And he has this guy that lives inside of his tummy who randomly comes out of him, chat, in this astral form and just, like, goes around the neighborhood and just fucks everyone's lights. Like, that's his thing. You have a character named Crazy Jane, chat, where, you know, she like, earned her fucking name. She has, like, 70-plus different personalities, chat, to go in and out randomly. And they all have their own different, you know, personality traits. You never know what you're gonna fucking get with her, chat. And then you have fucking Rita, you know, who's a character where she's like, oh, she's like kind of, think of her, chat, as Elastigirl, Mrs. Incredible, like thick and all that, except she's like horrific. She's like a blob-like monster. Like, she can't control her stretching ability, chat, and she becomes this giant, just amorphous blob of flesh. And she's always like, you know, like, oh, always leaking and shit. It's like gross. Like, that's what it is, shit. This is what all these characters are. Like, the shittiest X-Men ever. Like, Professor X would roll up and go, I'm sorry, but no. You know, like, Professor Xavier, he's a little bit of racist shit. He doesn't like ugly X-Men. Okay, he's like, yeah, I'll take Beast. He's a furry. That could work. And Nightcrawler, for whatever reason, the ladies love Nightcrawler. She has something about that German accent of his. He's like, oh, that's just so sexy. He's like, I'll take you, a Blue Devil Man. But the weird amorphous blob lady, no. A Mummy Man, absolutely not. And Crazy Jane can't deal with you. Like, these people are going to be ejected by the X-Men, Chad. And that is Doom Patrol. In a goddamn nutshell, chat. Very entertaining show. All the comics, very entertaining. Highly recommended, chat. But now we must start, chat. We must start with Doom Patrol, chat. And we start in fucking Paraguay, chat, in 1948. And how does any good story start, chat? With a Nazi war criminal, okay? And we see Alan Tudyk, chat. Wash, I'm a leaf on the fucking wind, getting stabbed in the tummy by a giant spear. He walks off this bus, chat. He's got a big old sack of money, and he's here to meet a Nazi war criminal, chat. And he sees off in the distance this man who just comes up with this fucking donkey and says, I will lead you to the Nazi war criminal. He's like, cool. And so they go to the Nazi war criminal's abode in Paraguay. And the guy, very Nazi-looking chap, bald, weird accent, just gaunt features. You've seen this actor before. And he's like, have you brought the money, Alan Tudyk? He goes, hell yeah, I have. Let's do it. See, Alan Tudyk's here for a very specific reason, chap. He wants superpowers, okay? He's like a too-big criminal, all right? He's like a thug. He's like one of the henchmen, the unnamed henchmen that, Lex Luthor or the Joker would hire that, like, die off screen or they would abuse. That's who this guy is, Chad. That's who Alan Tudyk is. And the doctor's like, do you have the money? He goes, yes, I do. He gives the money. He's like, excellent. Now go ahead and sit in this giant fucking honeycomb metallic structure that I've made. And he's like, cool. And he goes ahead and sits in there, and they all strap him in there. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and press all these buttons. I'm gonna go beeping and bopping and booping. But I want you to repeat this one phrase. The mind is the limit. And Al Tudyk's like, okay. And he says, the mind is the limit. Excellent. Again, the mind is the limit. Again, the mind is the limit. And when all this happens, Chad, he starts beeping and bopping and booping all these buttons. And then fucking Alan Tudyk starts to come apart. He's like, oh! He starts to look like a fucking jigsaw puzzle, Chad, as chunks of meat and bone and his eyeballs and his head is just starting to become all segmented, Chad. Like he's being disassembled before our eyes, Chad. And then boom, hard fucking cut. Forget about the Nazi war criminal. Forget about a jigsaw puzzle piece, Alan Tudyk, chat. We are now in the year 1987, chat, where Alan Tudyk, by the way, Alan Tudyk is the narrator for the show. He's very self-aware. He's breaking the fourth wall constantly, talking to the audience, chat. And he says, well, enough about me and all that. Let's get to 1987. Right? Where we can see he says, let's go ahead and find two very voluptuous, thick butt cheeks going up and down. He said specifically pale, voluptuous white butt cheeks going up and down. And we see all these butts, chat. We see a maid's butt. It's like she has a nice tuchus. We see this blonde bombshell, chat. She's kind of like, looks like a trophy wife. She's got a nice tuchus, chat. She's on like that step machine. I don't know what it's called, chat. That one, that. And then we cut, chat, and we see like a doll's butt, like a Barbie doll's butt. We don't want that. We don't want that. And we have a little girl who's crying because she wants to know where her daddy is. And the lady goes off, the blonde bombshell. She goes off the fucking stepper thing. And she's like, Gabriella, my daughter's crying. I don't know how to be a parent, chat. And then we do a hard cut to the pool house of this big mansion where we see the supple, large, thick butt cheeks of Brendan Fraser going up and down, chat. Up and down, okay? Because he is having sexual intercourse with Gabrielle at the moment, chat. And this is very thick Brendan Fraser, chat. This is not Mummy 1999 Brendan Fraser. He's put on some weight. I'm not body shaming the man, chat. I'm not body shaming the man. I'm actually, hey, man, he can fucking still do it. He can still do it, chat. And he is having all sorts of sexual intercourse with Gabriella. And he's asking her, he's like, what's my name? What's my name? You're the fox. Oh, you're the fox. And it's like, wow, okay, here we go. I did not expect so much sexual intercourse. And then fucking his wife, this character, chat, Brendan Fraser, we got Mrs. Fraser. Mrs. Fraser, she's looking all around for Mr. Fraser and, and Gabriella. And eventually, she's getting close to the fucking pool house. And she's going to discover that her husbando is having anal sex with the maid and nanny. It's like, oh, Jesus. And she knocks on the door and she opens it up, and Gabriella just fucking steps out. She had prim and proper. You know, her bazungas are back in place yet. You know, she's wearing a little nanny outfit. It's like, everything's good. And she's like, Gabriella, I couldn't find you. She goes, I'm sorry, I was just cleaning up in here right now. And he's like, oh, okay, my daughter is crying. I can't be a parent. As you know, I am rich and white. And she's like, well, she seems to be doing okay. And then we see fucking Brendan Fraser have the daughter in his arm. And it's like, oh, it's okay, honey. I calmed her down. And then Gabriella goes right next to Brendan Fraser and goes, see, isn't he great with her? It's like, ooh. And then she walks away and gives his daughter a little kiss and everything. And Mrs. Fraser, she's just fucking pissed. She doesn't like that. She doesn't like that. And then it's like, the only thing you usually have left in marriage, chat, Mr. Goddamn Alan Tudyk, chat, very negative. He says, eventually, if you don't get along, the only thing you have left in a marriage is contempt. And Brendan Fraser and Mrs. Fraser, they're at that point in the relationship, chat. They just have so much contempt for each other. But you're wondering, how has Brendan Fraser been able to attain such wealth, chat? He races cars. He's a car racer, chat. He's like Jeff Gordon. He's like Jeff Gordon. No, the other one, I don't know if there's any race car drivers. I know Jeff Gordon is one of them. I'm pretty sure he's one of them. And then there might be some other ones, but I know Jeff Gordon, he's the big one. He's the one that he was so good at it, everyone started to hate him, chat, because he was so good. Which doesn't make any sense. It's because he's the best doesn't mean that people hate him. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But then, Chad, we cut to the racetrack, and he's in his fucking car racing suit. Looks like a flight suit, and he's like, he's waving. Everyone's like, whoa! These NASCAR people are like, yeah! And they're all very large, eating their buttered noodles, Chad. Oh, they're stuffing themselves. Like, yes, they're just happy to see people turn left in a circle for like 500 fucking laps. Just keep turning left. They cannot wait for this, Chad. And he goes out there, and he's got his buddy, Chad. I'm going to call him Bob the Buddy. Going to call him Bob the Buddy. And he's like, we got your car moving and grooving. You'll be great. It's going to be an excellent race. And so he's like, all right, thanks, Bob the Buddy. Naya Brownie. Hey, Christopher. Hey, Juicy's Gang. How you doing, Naya Brownie? Welcome to the stream. I'm witnessing you right now. Hard hands. Chat, please follow Naya Brownie for never get her affiliate. Thank you. Please do it. Katie, thank you for the bitties. Oh, my God, you're reviewing Doom. I am. It's great. I might give it a better than sex episode. I might give her better than sex this episode. I don't want to play my hand yet, Katie, but I might be there. Welcome. Hope you and Batchels are doing quite well today. Good to see you, of course. Hope your week has been treating you well. But all the crowd, he's taking his lapping in all the adulation chat of the crowd, walks down, the fucking, I don't know, tarmac or whatever, and to his race car. And, the wife, goes something like, oh, like it's all, for presentation though, chap, because they're holding hands and they're waving to the crowd. It's like, oh, they're racing's best couple, chat. And she goes right next to him, like as close as I am to my microphone. She goes, crash and burn, honey. And he goes, I love you too, bitch. And then he gets inside the car. He's like, because Brendan Fraser's big. He gets inside the car, chat, and he fucking takes off. And he earned that fucking money, chat, because he's kicking ass this race. He's moving, he's ducking, he's weaving, he's dodging, he's dipping. He's bamboozling. He's kicking all these. They're like, they can't stop Brendan Fraser, chat. He can't be stopped, won't be stopped. And then he hears Bob, the buddy. Bob is like talking to him on his little microphone because they got like a little microphone set up when when he has his team there, and they're like, oh, you should take a left or right there, or if there's any technical issues, they know. But Bob's like, oh, jeez, oh, and he's like, Bob, what's up, man? He's like, nah, nothing. It's just this is a great race. You're kicking ass. And then because Brendan Fraser has slow-mo powers, chat, because when he passes by, he sees that his wife is groping the balls in peen, chat, like the whole fucking hand just boom into Bob the Buddy. Oh, Bob is no buddy to Brendan Fraser at this point. And Brendan Fraser's like, what the fuck? And he's like, are you sleeping with my wife? And he goes, no. And the wife goes, yes. And you know what's so good about him? You know what's so good about Bob the Buddy? Is that he doesn't have to ask me, is it in yet? Oh my God. And and Brendan Fraser's like, oh, he's so mad, Jen. He's so mad. And he starts racing erratically. And he goes down, Jen. But this one car hits the side. She hits the side because it's trying to avoid a large enraged Brendan Fraser. And boom! It hits the side of the racetrack, Jen, and starts doing flips. But then it's coming right at Brendan Fraser. He's like, oh! And it just destroyed him, Chad. Looks like it destroyed him. Then we cut. Hard fucking cut, Chad. Hard cut. And now we're looking at Timothy Dalton. formerly a James Bond, Chad. He was in 2 James Bond movies, The Living Daylights and License to Kill. In The Living Daylights, he teamed up with the Mujahideen to fight the Soviets, Chad. That's the Taliban. So you can now say that James Bond fought with the Taliban. And he did License to Kill, Chad, which, not a good movie, not a good movie. A guy's head exploded in a scuba gear, which is kind of cool, but that's about it. He was supposed to do a 3rd film, chat, but the movie License to Kill underperformed. And now he is Professor Xavier, chat. That's what he's doing, because he apparently is working on this big fucking thing. We don't know what it is. It's a screen. It looks like a screen. It's got dust in the middle. It feels very old. And he's just working on this thing, and he's like, hey, listen, so you've been through a lot right now, but I'm going to fix you up. I'm going to fix you up. You just blink for me, okay? You just blink for me. Let me know if you understand me. And the thing doesn't blink. He's like, all right. And he turns it off. And then we cut chat, and he's watching like these VHS tapes on welding and how to make like a robot body. And then the guy, whoever's on the fucking gurney, is watching it too. And eventually he's like, he's talking to this guy. He's like, listen, now this has been, I've done a little more upgrades to you. Can you understand me? Just move your head up and down if you understand me. And the head's like, he's like, excellent. Okay, that's enough. He's like, what? No. And he turns him off. And eventually he turns it back on. He's like, we're going to do some word practice, okay? He's like, can you understand what I'm saying? Can you say some words? And Brendan Fraser's like, race car. He's like, yay, you did it. Excellent. That's enough for now. And he turns him off. He turns it back on, like however many days later. We also see this woman, this lady named Rita. She appears, Chad, and she's always knitting. She's eating these huge rotisserie chickens, Chad. It's like, why is she eating so much? We'll find out. And she's just staring. He's like, how are you doing today, honey? He's like, race car. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to turn you off. Then he comes back on, chat, and we see a fucking mummy with sunglasses just going, just laying in the chair, chat, not interacting. But then we see, oh my God, we see like this glowing electricity man just kind of staring at him like, woo! It's like, what the hell is going on? He turns him off. He then comes back online. And we see Timothy Dalton, chat, formerly a James Bond, go, we're going to do some word practice, okay? What's this, bird? Can you say bird? Bird? And fucking the robot goes, bird. He's like, very good. Can you do this one? Can you do this one right here? Flew. And he's like, he looks over, chat, because he sees a calendar right there, and it says 1995. And he's like, wait a minute. 1995? It's been 8 years? 8 years? Where's my wife? Where's my wife and child? And Timothy Dalton's like, can you say the word? He's like, where the fuck is my wife? Fuck! And he turns him off. And eventually, he turns him back on. They do more of the word practice, chat. And then Rita comes in. He's like, watch him for me. This 50s, looking actress, chat. She has this kind of voice. I got transatlantic accent. And she's like, listen, I typically like to break the ice. At first, I don't want to beat around the bush, okay? And I think you gotta know what's wrong with me. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he come on over, Chad, has this mirror, and Brendan Fraser, Chad, he's turned into a robot, man. He's like, oh! He's like, his whole body. And then we cut, because he turns him off. And we cut, and we see that Brendan Fraser, it looks like he's this bronze-colored robot man. And Timothy Dalton, he rolls in. He's like, why'd you do that? She's like, he has a right to know. He's like, it might be too much for his mind. It might be too overwhelming for him at this point. And, Rita's like, you didn't do this with me. He's like, yes, I fucking did. All right, now I gotta calm him down. So eventually we cut chats. He's like, how long has it been? It's been 8 years at least. Eventually he turns it back on, and he starts talking. He's like, hey, listen, Cliff, you've been in Brendan Fraser, you've been in a horrific accident, okay, many years ago, and I've been working on a robot body for you, and the only thing that survived of your body was your brain. Technically, you are, you've been declared dead, but you're alive, and I want to give you a second chance. That's what I do here. And fucking, Brendan Fraser, he's like, what is it that you do here? He's like, I help people like you, people who have had traumatic experiences, who have unusual abilities and powers, and I help them cope with them, help them learn to use their powers, and if they choose to go back to society, to live among the mud people, to live among the humans again. And he's like, I don't know, where's my wife and child? And he goes, all that in time, my friend. Your memories are kind of scary. We cut back. We keep cutting back and forth because to the conversation, because then Brendan Fraser remembers these scenes, like him arguing with his wife, him seeing his daughter crying all the time, chat. We then always hear this this phone call, where he's like, I'm going to make things better. He sounds like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. I'm going to make things better. Can you help me move this couch? I swear I know what happened. We'll make things better. I think he's been drinking too much. And he's like, we'll go ahead and we'll show you around a little bit. And we bring in fucking Larry, chat, the negative man, the Lairster. He's like, this guy's name is Larry. Okay? He's going to help you just kind of see the ground, see the mansion. And, you know, that'll be enough for the day. And then we can get you walking, big guy, huh? That'll be funny. And fucking Fraser's like, fuck you. He's like, okay. And so then Larry has him on a gurney. And they take him out. And they're outside of Doom Manor, Chad. And they props him up there. And, poor Brendan Fraser, he's just being all fucking sad and shit because it's like, it's been so many years. I haven't seen my daughter. Doesn't even know my life. My wife's probably moved on. And then, Larry's just like, well, I'm sorry about that, buddy. But you probably should develop a fucking sense of humor. It'll help you here. And fucking Brendan Fraser goes, so, did they bury you with your cat in ancient Egypt? He's like, haha, very funny. See, that'll help you out here. He's like, listen. We've been here for quite a while. It's been quite an adventure. He's like, well, what the hell is your fucking story? Then we cut, chat. We cut to the good old Larry, chat. He was back. He was a hotshot pilot in the 1960s, chat. 1961 was about to be a part of the American space program, right? And he's got a lovely wife. He's got 2 sons, chat. And he's flying all this experimental aircraft for Uncle Sam. And so we got him. He's like, yeah, it looks like he's the prototypical soldier boy, chat. A good patriotic American is what you would expect, right? And all those, those documentaries from back in the day, chat. And so they got him in this, like, well, I hope the fucking experimental jet plane is working. I'm like, oh, sure is, buddy. Don't worry. And so they got this man in here, chat. He's in the goddamn jet plane, right? And they're flying. It detaches on this like big giant Boeing thing, and he goes all the way up in the fucking space because like we want to do like one like a plane that can go into space too. And he goes up there, and everything's fucking dandy, chat, until we see a giant electricity storm. And it hits him, chat. He's like, ah! And then electricity man goes inside of his tummy and then lives there. But then, chat, he becomes unconscious because electricity man lives inside of his tummy now. And he falls to fucking earth. And it's like, oh. And the soldiers are like, you gotta pull up, Larry. You gotta pull up. But he's not pulling up, chat, because he's like overwhelmed because he has electricity man inside his tum-tum. And then, boom! Fucking hits the goddamn ground, chat, explodes. And you got Alan Tudyk. Now, you'd think that'd be the end of Larry's story, but oh no, it gets much worse. And you see everyone's reaction, chat. They get to the goddamn crash site, and we see the burned body of the Lairster, chat. And he suddenly gets up, and he's like horrifically fucking, he's like beyond 3rd-degree burns, chat. He looks like an abomination just walking out there. Like he has nothing. Skin's all gone. This looks like muscle and tissue. It's really just gross. And he's like, oh, help me. And so that's why he wears all the bandage, chat, so people don't see him. And the fact that he also has another electricity man living in his tummy. Not great. And so they spend the rest of their time, chat, trying to help good old Brendan Fraser learn to walk. And they got like this whole like, hey, just gotta take your first steps, right? And he keeps struggling, trying to take his first steps, chat. He just can't do it over and over and over again. Readers getting fucking annoyed at him the whole time. Just can't stand him. Can't fucking stand him. And he's like, listen, maybe you should just try tomorrow. He's like, I'm just trying. It's just, I remember, like, because he keeps seeing flashes of his daughter, chat, the entire time. He's like, I always remember my daughter trying to help her up, these steps and everything. And Rita's like, that's good. Yeah, I remember my past. Want to hear my origin story? And they're like, sure. Okay, let's hear about Rita's origin story, Chad. As good old Brendan Fraser tries to climb up some steps, Chad. It's just 2 steps. He can't do it. He's got big, derpy robot feet. We then cut, Chad, to the 1950s, where Rita, the elongated lady or elongated woman, whatever the hell her name is, Chad, plastic lady, she's in the pictures. She's doing the picture. Also, she's eating a profuse amount of food, and we'll find out the reason why in a bit. But she's working on a picture, chat. She likes to call them the pictures, not the movies, in Africa, chat. And they're shooting this scene, and we find out Rita, she's not a fan of black people. She doesn't like black people. She doesn't like black people who are missing arms. She hates, that's a double whammy for her. She's like, I don't like that. I don't like that shit. And she sees this one, he's the cinematographer, Chad. He's a goddamn expert, and he's missing an arm, though. He's missing an arm, and she says, he disgusts me. I can't tolerate him. And the director's like, but the fucking crew loves him. He's really good at his job. She's like, well, put his fucking name on the marquee. But she knows they won't put his fucking name on the poster, Chad, on the marquee, because they're racist. And they're like, fuck. And so then they come out, they're shooting a new scene, and they replaced the cinematographer, chat, with another black man, but he has both of his arms. She's like, that's better. That's how I like them whole. I mean, I don't like them usually, but at least this one has an arm. Thank God. And so they're like, okay, great. So there's going to be like an action sequence here, chat. There's going to be like a crocodile scene, right? They put this, like, fake crocodile in the water. What's going to happen is, Rita, you're going to walk across this plank, right? You're going to walk across this plank, and then Herbie, I don't know his name, so I'm going to call him Herbert. He looks like a Herbert to me. He's going to, you're going to go, ah! You're going to scream real loud as you're walking across the plank, right? And he'll shoot the crocodile, and you fall into his arms. Sound good? And she's like, yeah, that sounds great. They're like, okay, action. And so she walks across the plank, she walks across the plank, chat, and goes, boom, goes right fucking through it. It just hits her face, like, right on the wood, and goes right in the water. And what's so funny is everyone's just like, oh, what are we gonna do? And the director goes up there, he looks down, and he's like, everyone's looking around, and all the black people in the back are like, yeah, bitch deserved it. I thought that was fucking hilarious. They're like, yeah, that's what she gets for her racism, chat. And he's like, somebody help her. And they're like, all right. And they go over there. Meanwhile, we cut to Rita inside of the water, Chad, in the lagoon, and she's trying to get up there, Chad. She unearths a rock, and then there's this fluid, Chad. I call it the fluid splooge. We see some green splooge, and it starts swimming around her, and it goes through her mouth, Chad, into her tummy. A lot of things go into people's tummies in this episode, Chad. I was like, huh. 2 characters already, but it goes inside of her. Then Herbie, the guy who was supposed to shoot the crocodile, he dives in, and he green baby, yes, very much green baby juice hot. The green baby juice, chat, immaculate conception. Just what happened to Mary back in the day, chat. He goes in there, brings her up there, and they get her on there. And then we cut to the people who are just looking at her going, oh! And she's like, it's just fine. This little swim. It's all I know how to swim. I could have been an Olympic swimmer, matter of fact. And she's like, someone hand me a towel. And they're like, no, like, she's like, what's wrong? What are you doing that for? And she's like, Missy, bring me a towel. And she's like, oh, fuck. And they get a mirror for her, Chad, and we see her face, and her face has just become like this blob-like texture. It just starts running down, Chad. It's like, ooh, it's so gross. Like, her skin is like becoming this amorphous, like, boiled, pustule blob. And it's just like falling down. She's like, no, I'm supposed to be beautiful. And she's like, oh, and she starts walking away. And she's like, her normally very thin legs become all blob-like and gross and shit. Like, they can become engorged with, like fat and pus. It's like, ew! It's just like, whoa! And the fucking, like, the black guy who had the arm gone, he's like, yeah, that's what you fucking get. But then somehow she's able to control her amorphous blob pustule form, but she's very hungry all the time. She needs to eat, chat. Because I think actually like her normal, like her what she should be is just, she's like a blob monster basically. And so she needs to have an excessive amount of calories, chat. She needs to eat like 10,000 plus calories a day in order to keep fucking living. Aging like a regular Karen, exactly. And so that's her fucking origin story, chat. But then eventually we cut back to good old Brendan Fraser, chat. And he's just thinking about his daughter. And he talks about the story how when he taught her to walk, she was always so excited about walking up the stairs, but you couldn't. She had derpy little girl legs, chat. She had derpy little girl legs, and she's like, and she couldn't do it. And so Brendan Fraser would lift her up the stairs, and her legs would start to be good and chat. And so you do that, but then because the daughter just like hanging out with her dad so much, she would purposely not go up the stairs, and he'd be like, just go up the goddamn stairs. But she's like, lift me, daddy, lift me. And it's this very cute memory, chat, of Brendan Fraser of his daughter, and they go up the stairs and they go, yay! And then Larry and Rita are like, well, You know, well, Brendan Fraser, just go up the goddamn stairs. Do it for your daughter. And he starts taking those steps, chat. Boom, boom, boom. He goes up those steps, and he's going the flashbacks of daughter and going, yay. It's a wonderful, sweet moment, chat. It's beautiful, beautiful moment. As he's like, yes, I have done it. And then we see him walking around the mansion, chat. He's like, it's shaky, but he's doing it. And he's also in clothes now, too. They got some clothes for him. He looks like a rocker. Kind of looks like a punk rock. I guess it's the 1980s, so that makes sense. And he appears before Timothy Dalton, chat. The chief, as they like to call him. And he goes, hey, listen, man. I really appreciate what you've done for me. That's very kind. But I need to find my daughter, and I need to find my wife. If they've moved on, that's fine. But I need to at least let them know that I'm alive. And Timothy Dalton's like, yeah, so listen, yeah. Hey, man, I'm right there with you. I think, I've had many people come here, help them with their abilities. Some have stayed. Some have stayed. You met some of them. Larry the Lairster, Rita the Blob Abomination. But I've had people have left, and oftentimes when I've heard, they have struggled to acclimate back to society. Not that they don't want to, that some people just won't accept them. It's hard. And I want to make sure that there's a safe place for people who are unique like you. And there's certain things that I think you should know. You've had dissociative memories, and what you might be remembering might not actually happened. I have this for you. And he takes out this recording. It's like big, like 1980s, recording instrument. He says, these are a bunch of messages that I managed to piece together from your various answer machines. And that's how I recreated your voice for the robot body. I want you to listen to some of these, okay? And he fucking wheels away, and then, Brendan Fraser starts listening. He presses the button, and he hears this message that he's heard throughout the episode, chat. It's like, I want to make things better. I want to make things better for you. He stops because he's like, whoa, what was that about? Because these messages are after the race that day, the race that supposedly killed him. And he clicks the message, he starts listening to it, and we're cut back to the race, right? When that fucking car looked like it just decapitated him, chat, destroyed his body. And we cut, and he's like, oh! And he goes right underneath the car, chat. He misses the car, and he keeps driving, chat, and he wins the fucking race. And everyone's like, yeah, he fucking did. He's mad, though. He's mad, though. He gets out of the fucking car. They got the champagne. They hand him the champagne. They hand him the trophy and shit. The wife comes on over. She's like, oh, shit, this is probably not good. And she's like, Brendan Fraser. He's like, shut up, bitch. And then we got remember Bobby the Buddy, chat? He's like, yeah, man. Woohoo, we did it. And fucking Brendan Fraser looks at Bobby the Buddy, takes the champagne, and boom, he doesn't like whack with chat. He goes, this he wanted this to be as painful as possible. He just takes the bottom portion and just rams it into his friend's face, chat. So his nose just explodes. It just breaks. And then he hits him in the mouth, chat. And then he finally just goes, Aah! And he hits him right in the balls. He goes down, and just a double tap, chat. He puts his giant Brendan Fraser foot, chat, and puts it right into his ball and peen region. Just boom. You heard that thing it just must have exploded. And he's like, everyone's like, holy shit. And he goes, woo! Because then he uncorks the champagne. He's spraying everyone, chat, like he's jerking off and stuff. And then we cut, chat, to a trailer where he's having copious amounts of sexual intercourse with Gabriella, because she's on top, chat, but he's just like, oh. He's dead to the world, chat. He just doesn't care. He's doing fucking blow. He's doing all sorts of alcohol, chat. He's just ingesting everything. Later in the night, chat, when Gabriella's passed out because she's been just taking all sorts of drugs and alcohol, he calls his wife. Apparently his wife is staying with her parents, and he's like, listen, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, between us. I'm sorry. I want to be better. I want to do this for our daughter and for us. I'm so sorry. Let's start. Let's work on this together. I want to work on this together. And eventually we see all these flashbacks, chat, to him, like before he starts racing, where it's just him and his wife living in a trailer. They're getting all this money together to have him start racing. Again, a marketing campaign together. They have their first child, and they're both in love. He's thinking of all these things. Eventually, he goes to his wife's parents' house, his in-laws' house, picks up her and his daughter, You know, it's late at night. So it must be like a few days later. We're not really sure. They get in the car and they're driving, and you know, they're just kind of, it's awkward, of course. You know, the daughter's in the back. She's just sleeping at this point, but she's kind of waking up because she sees the parents interacting. And Brendan Fraser's like, "Hey, who wants pancakes?" And they're like, "Oh, what a sweet thing to say. Hey, late night pancakes. Let's have some fun. I haven't eaten all day. You guys haven't eaten all day. Let's fucking do it." And then the wife goes, "Brendan Fraser, watch out!" Because then he goes right through a fucking truck, chat. So the truck bed is like this logging truck is right across the road. Like, it's just the full length of the road. You just see it like, you know, like this. And he goes right fucking through it. And the top of the car just goes. Like, all their fucking heads, chat, like right hit the goddamn side of the truck, chat, right fucking through. We then cut, chat, to these paramedics we see from Brendan Fraser's perspective, and it's just fucking meat. He just looks like a giant meat man, Brendan Fraser. We look at the wife, chat, and her head's just gone. It's just gore and blood and teeth. Her body's just all mangled. We cut to the back, and the little girl's just, she's just gone, chat. Looks like a fly hit a goddamn window shield going 100 miles per hour. And he's like, "Oh no, oh God." And then we cut to modern day. In this case, 1995, and he's fucking freaking out because he remembers. He's like, "Ah!" And he just starts hitting shit in laboratory, chat, because what he saw. And then, you know, eventually, you know, he fucking keeps hitting things. He just fucking calms himself down. And then we see him, chat, near the steps, just hitting his head against it, like over and over and over again. And the chief comes in there, is like, "Listen, I didn't want to show you that until you were ready." He's like, "Fuck you, chief. I feel nothing. I feel nothing. I don't feel any pain. I just wanted to feel pain. You denied me pain. You denied me that." And he's like, "Listen, you need anything, you let me know. You let me know." And then, chat, we cut to Brendan Fraser just literally in a room for years. Just everyone gets their own room here, and he just goes into this goddamn room and just stares out a window. That's all he does all goddamn day. That's it. I don't know if he interacts with anybody. And occasionally they bring things in for him, like it's, you know, like I think it like goes by like 4 or 5 years, so maybe in 1999, 2000. And Larry brings him like a Christmas present, and it's like this racetrack, like NASCAR racetrack. And this just inspires Brendan Fraser to create this giant diorama in his room, just as a distraction, chat, from all the pain he's felt throughout his life, and he adds more things to it over time. You know, it's becoming bigger. Rita and Larry get involved in the project together. It goes, it's a montage, chat, from like 2000 all the way to 2018. He's worked on this one thing for 18 goddamn years. They've gotten better. They're basically family at this point, even though they bicker. And, you know, Rita's going, "Oh, you've added a new thing today. What does that say?" He says, "That says library." And she goes, "No, it doesn't." He says, "I have fucking robot fingers. I can't write." And she's like, fair enough, fair enough. But then, chat, they hear some yelling outside. They hear some, just the shrill fucking shrieks, and they hear Timothy Dalton too. They go outside, chat, and they see that Timothy Dalton is yelling at this young girl. And he's just telling her, Jane, could you just calm down, we can address this. And she's like, Jane's not here, you fucking cripple. And they're like, whoa. And they're like, oh, shit. And because Robot Man's like, who, or, you know, Brendan Fraser's like, who is she? And she's like, oh, that's Jane. Or, no, not this time. I think, no, I think she's changing again. And then this girl who's called Jane, chat, she gets this other personality, and she becomes like very sexual. She's like, what, you want to fuck me, Timothy Dalton? You want to fuck me? Is that what you want? He's like, no, you just calm down. Let's go talk, okay? We can talk. You can go to your room. And she sees the three of them down. He's like, hey, what the fuck you fucks doing over there? And by the way, this actress, did someone say family? bro family. They need to join the crew. That's what they absolutely need to do. This actress who plays Crazy Jane is absolutely amazing, chat. Diana Guerrero, wow, what a fucking talent. All the personality she plays, with the rapport she has with the character, especially with Brendan Fraser, is out of this goddamn world. Emerald Jester, welcome to stream. She's really good. She has one of the hardest jobs, where she has to, one of the hardest and one of the most fun, because she plays so many characters throughout the show. And she goes over to the three of them. And, Rita's like, how are you doing today? Hammerhead, because that's one of her personalities. His name is Hammerhead. She's like, how are you doing today? Hammerhead. And she goes, just piss off and die, Rita. And she's like, okay. And Larry just is like, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to say nothing. And she's like, who the hell are you, robot man? And he's like, my name's Cliff. My name's Brendan Fraser. She goes, oh, yeah. And she just goes under that. She just grabs his, what would have been his robot balls and peens chat, but he's Ken doll smooth. He's like, you like that? You like that? And he goes, oh, there's nothing there, bitch. How about you take it? He's the only one that talks back to her, chat. He's the only one that throws it back at her. And she's like, oh, all right. You're fucking mean to me. I hate you. And she runs off and she slams the door and goes in her room and just starts screaming. And he's like, what the fuck was that? He's like, well, you just met Jane, or one of the 72 just nuts and bolts. What he says. Great goddamn line. I think that's what he says. Nope, just nuts and bolts. You nailed it, Nia. Have you watched this show? And so, that we are introduced to Jane. She doesn't get much of a backstory. They explore this throughout the rest of the series. Chat season 1 and season 2. It's really messed up with her, actually. You should write the show now. You absolutely should. And so then we cut because Cliff takes a shine to her, not in a sexual way. It's just like father figure type of thing, chat. Like Wolverine Jubilee type thing. Wolverine Shadowcat type of thing. You want to make a comparison to it, chat. And then we see Jane. She's outside, or one of the person you think one of the person. She's painting. She's painting, chat. Like this thing. It's like she's mostly pink, but it's all these black blobs like interacting with each other. It's like this is her brain. It's what she thinks of her brain is. And he goes, Hammerhead. She goes, no, Jane, this time. Sorry for Hammerhead saying all these things about you. He goes, oh, did she tell you about what she did? She goes, in her own way. He goes, did she tell you that you grabbed my nuts and bolts? You grabbed my crotch? He goes, she didn't tell me that. No, maybe she likes you. And they go back and forth, but they have this really wonderful conversation about just their struggle. Apparently this is weird to me. And I'm like, okay, maybe I misheard this. But she says, I've been here since the 70s. And maybe he's just been in that fucking room the whole time. He doesn't have to leave. He just doesn't know. He's like, I've been here since the 70s. He goes, fuck, I didn't even see you. She goes, yeah, well, you're always in your goddamn room all day. So, of course you did in all these years. And it's interesting because none of these, based on all their abilities, chat, Cliff, Brendan Fraser does not age because he's a fucking robot. Larry won't age for some reason based on the fucking man that lives inside of his tummy. Rita won't age because of the Jesus juice that went inside of her, chat, and the blob-like thing just keeps her young. And Crazy Jane, I think they explain why she is as old as she is, but she just does not age. But she stays young. So they're basically immortal, chat, but they have the shittiest powers imaginable. And they go back and forth. They have this great bonding moment where they're both in so much physical pain. Eventually, Jane is just out there all goddamn day, and Cliff is just talking to her. Eventually, it just starts fucking raining, just pouring down on both of them. And Jane's personality switches. And he's like, Jane. She goes, no, I'm the hangman's daughter. My painting was ruined, and we see all the water just going down, disfiguring the painting. She's like, and this is like her mind. This is what she constantly experiences on a day-to-day basis, chat. Never adhere to one personality for an extended period of time. It's like a fucking nightmare. And he's like, you want to go inside? And she goes, I want to go inside. Yes, I want to do that. And so eventually, they become a family. They spend time together. They watch they have their TV dinners. They watch the goddamn news and movie. They watch Rita's movies. Rita's always saying her dialogue over and again because she knows, chat. She's seen all these movies all the time. But they become this weird, dysfunctional family, chat. Now, they occasionally we learn that Timothy Dalton, he goes on secret British missions, chat, for MI6. And he's like, I gotta go away for a while. And he's like, we know, Dad, we know. And he's like, listen, you stay here. Don't fuck anything up. And I'll be back in a couple days, okay? I'm gonna bring you home a new goddamn abomination. They're like, cool, see you later. And he leaves. And they all do their normal things, chat. But then, they also have to realize, like, wait a minute. We're on our own for like the first time ever. We can do whatever we want, but none of them want to. Like, Larry, he loves horticulture, chat. He loves like taking care of the plants. Rita, she just likes to eat. She's like, I need buttered noodles. She just eats all the buttered noodles and rotisserie chicken she can. That's all she does. Maintains that very slim physique. And, Brendan Fraser, he just wants to play with his, race cars. But Jane's like, fuck this. And Larry, like, had, like, he's just, like, takes these vehicles And like normally they would be like crushed and used for make other things and stuff. He's like, I'm gonna just turn these into giant fucking pots and put plants in them. Well, she said, fuck that. She rips all that shit out and she takes his bus and she like, you know, spray paints it black and stuff. He's like, no, that's my flowers. She's like, fuck your flowers, Larry. He's like, oh, and he's like, let's fucking go on a road trip. Let's go into town. And they're like, the chief, Dad wouldn't like that. And she goes, fuck Dad. Let's go in. Come on, we'll have a lot of fun. We'll hang out. We'll do drugs. Have sex, or he's like, fucking robot man. Brent Fraser's like, I can't have sex. And they go, well, you can watch us having sex. Would you like that? He goes, ah! And they all fucking go on the truck, all on the bus chat, as they drive into this little ordinary neighborhood chat, small town. They all go out there. They're like typical square you'd seen, like, you know, they're at the fucking, you know, town hall and all that. And they all leave on their own accord. Like, Rita's like, well, I'm going to go. I'm going to get a burger and interact with the residents of this quaint little town. And she goes down. She goes, I need money. Larry, give me money. He's like, I don't. He's like, give it to me, Larry. He's like, fuck. And he gives her the money, Chad. He saves, Chad. That GI Bill, baby, that GI Bill. And so he gives her the money and she goes to a burger place. She goes inside this diner, Chad. She sits herself down, you know, trying to get the attention. Men are like, yeah, you look hot. She goes, hell yeah, I do. And she starts talking with this owner, bartender, waitress, owner. She's all of it. She's all of it, chat. And, you know, the waitress brings her a burger. And she goes, you know what? You remind me of this fucking actress I used to watch with my dad back in the day, Rita Farr. She goes, oh, I get that so often. Oh, I used to watch those movies all the time with my dad. I mean, they were a little hokey, the movies. Like, hokey? I mean, you know, they were fun, of course, but it was just a great time to spend with him. You know, he passed away not too long ago, and I just sometimes think about that, and seeing you just brought back all these memories. She's like, dear, sit down. We'll talk. We'll have a little discussion, sister to sister, right? And because the waitress, the owner's black, she goes, okay. Rita has worked on her racism, chat, or at least tried to. At least tries to. So they sit down together. Meanwhile, Larry's like, Larry's the last one to leave. Fucking Brendan Fraser and Crazy Jane, they exit the bus, and they're all just, the town people are just looking at fucking Brendan Fraser like, that's a fucking robot. And he's just like, what are you gonna do? And they sit down on a park bench, and they start talking. And Jane starts smoking doobies, chat, smoking the marijuana. And he's like, oh my God, I miss the devil's lettuce so much. I want it. She goes, you want to try? He goes, okay. But he can't breathe. He goes, just sits in his mouth. He's like, oh. She goes, yeah, give me my fucking doobie back. He starts smoking it. And eventually their conversation, oh no, after that, it you know, it continues on. But then we cut to Larry. And Larry, he's the most shy out of anybody. Because he feels very uncomfortable. Like, fucking, you know, Brent Fraser's like, I'm a robot, who gives a shit? But Larry, he has all these bandages on him. It looks like the Invisible Man. And he is always, and the thing is, he's always felt like a monster. Like, Alan Tudyk comes in, and he says, he's always felt like a monster. He just has the exterior to match it now. Because he walks out of the bus, and he goes to his bar. And, of course, everyone fucking stares at this guy who's completely in bandages. He goes to the far end of the bar, and he's like, and he's like, is it okay if I can order a drink here? And the guy's like, I mean, what would you like? He's like, I would like one beer, please. Which is like, you don't do that. You had to name a fucking brand. He's like, I would like a beer. And the guy, okay, I'll give you whatever was on tap. And he sits down there, and we find out, Chad, the thing that made Larry so uncomfortable, Chad, throughout his entire life is that he is gay. He had a secret love affair with his main man, Chad, his co-pilot, and the guy that would always prepare his fucking, you know, planes and shit for him. And we see this also, like this version of Larry, when he's not in the bandages, I believe, isn't it Matthew, I think it's Matthew Bomer, who is gay in real life. And we cut to this one scene, like him, you know, kissing his wife and kids as he goes to work, Chad, and having a hot sex with his co-pilot buddy, Chad, in the back of a fucking, you know, pickup truck. And he's just like, but this is the 60s. It's 1961. He's an all-American patriot. He can't be who he is, so he feels so uncomfortable, Chad. He has very low self-esteem. And then we cut to eventually, when he's in the goddamn ship again, Shaq crashes down. We see his buddy who sees him walking out going, oh my God, I can't have sex with you. He's like, oh, he's all broke up about it. It's very, very sad. And eventually, chat, we cut to Rita and the diner, and, you know, her, the waitress, you know, it doesn't go well, chat. you know, certain things are said and it pisses them off, and Rita, she starts to fucking melt and shit. She's like, "Aw!" And she's like trying to get away because her face is falling apart, and they're a big fucking like her leg starts to fill with like fat and pus and all sorts of goobers and shit. It's like not good. She's like, "Wah," until eventually, chat, she's like, she can't maintain her form that she typically does, and she just becomes this giant blob abomination, just goes out the window and starts rolling down the street. And it's like, oh my God. and they're like, what the fuck is that? It just starts like knocking over shit and like flipping cars. Like she can't help herself. It's like she's not even in control of her own body. It's literally just doing what it wants to survive, chat. Consume. Meanwhile, we cut to Larry, who's like, oh God, the man who lives inside my tummy wants to come out. And he's like, oh, and he leaves the bar. And he just starts running outside, chat, like, oh. And then the negative energy man bursts out of him, chat, and his regular mummy body just kind of is like behind like this. He's like, I can't do anything. As this thing just fucking flies around and starts attacking all the electrical wiring, chat, bursting things and stuff. We eventually cut to Brendan Fraser and Crazy Jane. They're talking on a park bench, and Crazy Jane's like, hey, listen, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? He's like, you know, I mean, I don't know. He's like, don't you want to find your wife and daughter? He's like, my wife and daughter are dead. And Crazy Jane's like, that's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. She goes, what are you talking about? He's like, hey, your wife might be dead, but your daughter, she's alive, man. The fucking chief, he's a goddamn liar. He's a liar. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, look, and she's found, have you ever used the internet? Like, she's never used the internet, chat. She's like, I just want to be obsessed with this one thing. But she says, fucking your daughter is alive. All right, he fucking lies to us. He's a piece of shit. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, this whole thing, like, the chief wouldn't lie to me. He's like, he lied to you before, didn't he? And he's like, oh, and they start arguing back and forth. Eventually, these two police officers come over and going, Miss Robot Man, robot creature, is something going on here? And the guy, Robot Man's like, I'm sorry, officers, we're just having a conversation, got a little heated, my apologies. And Crazy Jane, she switches to the Hammerhead personality. She's like, we weren't fucking talking to you, pigs. And they're like, oh, he's like, oh, that's not good. He's like, why don't you fucking get back in your goddamn car and start oppressing, harassing some other people, okay? I know I'm a little darker than usual, and you don't like that. And meanwhile, the cop is black. He's like, It's just very awkward. But then eventually, chat, they see the giant Rita blob abomination going down the goddamn street. And they're like, oh, that's not good. And the cops are distracted by this. They're like, what the fuck? And Jane, she like starts like running at Rita, you goddamn bitch, get your fucking shit together. And she's like, stop yelling at me. And she's rolling down the street. Eventually, you know, Brent Fraser's like, oh, Jesus, I got to stop her somehow. And he runs ahead of her, chat. And he's like, because this thing just won't stop. And so what he does, he literally sticks his hand into the road itself, chat, and just lifts up this huge fucking section of just to stop her progress. And he manages to do it, chat. And she stops, and she, like, part of her, like, blob body leaks over. She's like, I want to go home now. And he's like, we can go home now. We can go home now. And they fucking hightail it out of there, chat. Eventually, they're all watching on the evening news. There was a robot man that stopped a buttered noodle abomination. And Rita's like, oh, God, I don't eat buttered noodles. And eventually, fucking Timothy Dalton comes in because he hears about all the destruction. He's like, what the fuck? And he wheels himself in. He's like, I told you, motherfuckers, not to go out. He's like, you can't keep us here forever, Dad. We have our lives. He's like, your lives are safe here, okay? You don't understand. You guys just don't understand. There are things out there that could come for us. You've endangered us, okay? I have so many enemies. Like, he stops himself. It's like, so many enemies. They're like, what? He's like, you know what? Never mind. I gotta go and check. Cause when he's going in the town, chat, when he comes home, he sees that fucking donkey from Paraguay. Do you remember that donkey? The guy that leads. Remember that Alan Tudyk was in the beginning of this episode in Paraguay and went to a fucking Nazi and got superpowers? Remember that shit? He sees that fucking donkey from 1948 in Paraguay. That Nazi donkey. And he's like, that's weird. And he goes back home and he goes to his office, chat. And Alan Tudyk's narrating all of this, and he goes that what the fucking chief wanted to say is that he has many enemies. And they now know where he is. Because he opens his fucking cupboard, he takes all these pictures, and he sees that donkey, the evil Nazi donkey. He goes, oh, shit. And he wheels himself out, and he goes, okay, listen, in order to do what I've done for all these countless decades, to help all these people, I've made many enemies who wish to exploit people like you for nefarious things. And we got to get the fuck out of here now because they know where I am. I saw an evil Nazi donkey and we need to leave. And they're like, what? Nazi donkey? He's like, I can't explain it. We need to leave. And at this point, Brendan Fraser's like, no, fuck that. Listen, like, we have powers, we have abilities. This is our home. This is where we want. We can protect the town. We can protect the town. Like we did it today. I mean, we caused a lot of destruction. I mean, no one died though. No one died. And that's pretty good. It's like, look, I want to stand here and fight. But then he's like, fuck, Brendan Fraser, that's stupid. Don't do that. He's like, I want to do that. And eventually, Jane and Rita and Larry, they're like, nah, we're with the chief. We're gonna leave. And so they all pile in the bus. And they drive away. And Cliff's like, fuck y'all, I'm going to do it myself. And he goes in the town chat waiting for the villainous threat to show up because he's going to fucking fight him. Eventually, we cut to Jane. She's driving the bus. She goes, you know what? I'm regretting this. Brendan Fraser, he doesn't have any fucking balls, and he has more balls than each and every single one of us put together. Okay? All right? We should go back. We should go back there and help him. And, you know, fucking the chief, Timothy Dalton, is like, no, that's very dangerous and stupid. We're all going to get killed. And she goes, Rita, are you in? And Rita's like, he helped me, so yes. Larry's just like, and that's a yes for Larry. Rita answers for him. That is a yes for Larry. He goes, fuck. And so she just goes, all right. She turns the bus around, she does a U-turn and goes back to town. Eventually, they pull up right beside Brendan Fraser. He's like, get your robot ass in here. He goes, hell yeah. And he gets in the bus. And they park right in the middle of the square of the town. They all get up. And like, we're going to fight the threat, James Bond. He goes, okay. And so they start walking shit. They just start walking out there. Right? And then eventually, we cut, and this donkey just comes out of this alleyway. The Nazi Paraguayan donkey. And they're like, the fuck is that? And the donkey just goes, rah, and farts. It just expels this gas chat. And the gas goes up in the air, and it's like, what the hell? And it starts to spill out these words. And it's these words, chat. The mind is the limit. The words that fucking Alan Tudyk was told to say inside the chamber. It's like, huh? And then shall we cut to the goddamn bus that Timothy Dalton is in, and he goes, they don't understand what they're up against. And then Alan Tudyk shows up and he goes, they don't. And he's a jigsaw man, chat. Like, he's like weird and shit. Like, parts of his body are just gone, and he's walking around. He's just like, He's like, oh, Jesus, Alan Tudyk, you scared the shit. He's like, sorry, you're right. These fucking fools of yours, they have no idea what's coming. I'm going to summon a hell dimension. And he claps his fucking hands, chat, and this giant portal just opens up in the middle of the goddamn town and starts sucking in, like, this weird portal, like, blue-white energy. And it all starts going down, chat, starts destroying more of the road. And fucking Brendan Fraser, he says the thing that he says most throughout this series, what the fuck? And then it cuts, chat. And that, my friends, is Doom Patrol Episode 1. Goddamn great show. It gets weird. You thought this episode was weird? You haven't seen nothing yet, chat. Highly recommend checking it out. Currently on HBO Max right now. Wonderful characters. You don't need to know anything about DC to enjoy it, chat. Like, it is in the they mentioned Batman. They literally mentioned Batman. Cyborg is in the show later on, chat. He's one of the other guests of the Doom Patrol. One of the members of the team. Great guy. The guy that plays Cyborg is awesome. But I love there's like, it's just, they are literally the D-list superhero team of the DC universe, and they have so much fun. So much fun, chat. The mind is the limit. Woo! Rating for this, better than sex. It's so good. It's because it's one, the special effects are pretty good. They use their budget very well, and it's all character based. It's just focus on the characters and the relationships and how just tragic they all are. It's beautiful. It's a really beautiful show. Like, this first episode, what a great first impression. As it gets weirder, it gets more violent. Yeah, I could not praise it higher, Chad. It's probably it's up there with Watchmen to me. You have the Watchmen series that came out, Chad, a couple of years ago. Brilliant. And then I'd say right underneath it, Chad, is Doom Patrol. Close second is Doom Patrol. If you love Watchmen, I think you'll love this show a lot. Touches on a lot of political, societal things that we're experiencing right now. Beautiful show. Really, it's the best part of the show because it's funny. Oh, yeah, Brendan Fraser gets some great lines in the show. Really wonderful writing. He does great voice work. Love the Doom Patrol. They are great, and they're the original X-Men from DC. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I've been told. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know. There you go. Yeah, I hope Mentos come back to that episode. Yes. Yeah, and oh yeah, Alan Tudyk's character is called Nobody, because I was a nobody, and now that's my name. And Alan Tudyk is brilliant in the series. It's super, super fun. Oh my lord. It's 2020 see Timothy all in the show because they kind of does the exact same thing in Pain Dreadful, and he eventually makes a team, but with monsters. But oh, I didn't know. I never watched Pain Dreadful before. Nybert, 5 out of 5 mummy movies. Swamp Thing, what I've seen was great, and it was, I haven't watched all of it, but I have seen Swamp Thing. It's brilliant, and it did not deserve to be canceled. It sucks, because that last episode, I guess, was not supposed to be the last episode. It was supposed to be like 2 more afterwards or something. Yeah, it sucks. I'm trying to make something out of Doom. So you should, Ed-Man, Theed Man, Kaplan Naboo Man. It's excellent. It's really, really fun. Yeah, and this is this artwork, I think, perfectly encapsulates what the series is about. Just the use of colors and the weirdness, and I just even like the place they live in just feels like their home. Feels like it's stuck in like the 1980s or 70s constantly. Even though they go out, it's like 2018, 2019, 2020. It's really, really cool. Wonderful show. Wonderful show, chat. Woo! But now, my friends, now we're about to get into my watch party for Invincible. Before I do that, chat, I'm going to go ahead and freshen my beverage. In the meantime, please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves, and I shall return. Stick around, chat.